Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing, this April the 11th, 2025, noontime update here. Now is a better time than any to become members of Jabroni Killers. $3.99 a month, video description or the pinned comment. Become a first mover built on truth, trust, education, and information. We're going to start off briefly looking at the dollar. Was down about 1.25%. It's starting to rally here in the mid-morning as we approach the noon hour. The gold bullion hit $3,200. It's sitting at 32.44, a new record high. Silver's up to $32.20. Kinross gold is up to $14.40. We have an entry price at $5.22. B2 gold is up to 327. We have an average cost of about 298 on 3,200 shares. Barrett Gold is over 20 and almost 20 and a half dollars now, sitting at 20.48. We've been talking about Barrett Gold for a long time. I think the average price is 16.95. A couple of hundred shares of them. First Majestic Silver, we've been harping on. It's up another 5%, over $6. Pan America Silver is up to $25. We have an entry price of $16 and change. Fortuna Silver Mines is up another 3%. We started buying this at $2.28, right? The gold and silver mining stocks are thriving. The cryptocurrency markets are moving and changing by the day, rapidly up and down. We've had some big winners, and a couple of them I want to get to before I forget from Jabroni Killer members. And it's more important now than ever to get in. I believe Casper was one of them. My lovely Jabroni Killer member was asking about, and Casper's been on a big down decline ever since it came out. It's just been fleece heisting and shisting people. We made a new all-time low down there at 0.00641 back in November before the Trump rally. Then we gained about 60% of what we lost back from when it came out, according to this chart. And then we've had a massive sell-off. Now, what I'd be looking at here in the daily is you had the golden bearish and bearish crosses back in February. Um, I would be looking at the moving averages now and the daily time frame as your major upper resistance. So your first major resistance level would be this 0.01, and this is only if you can continue to move up. The volume down here in this recent rally isn't even as great or even close to what we had back here with that rally. You can see that, and then the 50-day moving average beat it down. To start this rally right now, the volume doesn't look very good. So that would leave credence if it does continue to wiggle up. The 50-day could be another resistance level, as it's been ever since about right here back in January, about January the 20th. Every time it hits the 50, it's getting rejected. And then a major area of resistance, if it could get the volume to push past there, would be right here at the bottom part of this light red trading zone at 0.011 is a major resistance level, as it was a major support level back here before it finally broke down. It's going to be a major resistance level now. Just as you can see, it tried to hold support when it was coming back down and breaking down again, but failed to hold it and broke down. So on the way up, that would be a major resistance level. On any kind of breakdown, a double bottom of the all-time low would be in play, right? So that's what we're looking at there on Casper in the short term. There was another one that somebody asked me about. Brony Killer, remember? Oh, of course it's going to do this. Let's see. There was something else somebody asked me recently. CSRP, I'm assuming that was Casper. Let me know, and thank you for the donation if that's what you were talking about. And then a Jabroni Killer member eats Ethereum down to 496. Let's take a look at Ethereum. To get down to 496, that's a big fall, especially from where it came from. Let's go to the weekly. We look at the weekly chart. 496 is way down here. Let's mark 496 for them. I see why you're marking that level. So that's a good level to be at, because if you look at what took place back here, wow, we had a lot of stuff happening back there. Get rid of all this. Hold on, bear with me. If you see what happened back here, this was a major resistance point and support area on this most recent breakout, right? So that's illogical. You can see we had a lot of support right here on the way up and on the way back down on the first big bull run. Oops, on the first big bull run. I love how they finally put one of those things on there. Bull run of 2017 and 18. And then on the way back up, we had a lot of resistance on it, right? Before we had the big breakout during COVID. So on the way down, that would be a major level. But the level I would be targeting sooner than that on the way down as a major support level is down here at the bottom part of this blue trading zone at $1,000.12. If it was to come back through this trading box, there would be a lot of support there. But it looks like you could have a mountain double top forming here in the longer time frame, and that would be an area that we could come down and retest down here at $1,012. But to get down here to the $511 or the $495 that was on this price that you asked about, what we would need to happen is what you're starting to see happen in the weekly time frame. If you look at the weekly time frame, you're about to have in the daily time frame, you've had a golden bearish cross, right? But in the weekly time frame, you haven't had it yet. And you can see we have, that's probably supposed to be down here. In the weekly time frame, we haven't had that yet. What you would need to have to drive that price all the way to a capitulation low would be a golden bearish cross, where if you just extend out into the future, where say 6, 7, 8 weeks from now, you have uh, you have the overhead 50-day moving average. Oh my God, the most bearish times it could come on, and we still do not want to buy you. As you expand out, you would have the 50 start to come down like this, and then steeply coming down, right? That would be the overhead 50, and we got it. This is going into the future. Then you would have the 100-day moving average, which would end up on top of it in the future like that. That would be the 100-day moving average. Then you would have the 200-day moving average on a golden bearish cross into the future, and it would end up on top. You'd have a complete flip. See how you start with the color scheme? Oops, get rid of that. See how you start with the color scheme right now? You have the 50 on top, the 100, the blue in the middle, and the 200 on the bottom. In the future, if you have a golden bearish cross, you'll have the 50 steeply falling, the 100 above that, and the 200 on top. And that's what could combine if you get rejected and you come down in the next 3 or 4 weeks and retest this $1,012 on the way back up of a major retest. It hits these overhead moving averages, and that forces a local capitulation in the monthly time frame. So that's what we're going to look for here on a way to get you down to that $400 target. I think an area that's going to have major support is that $1,012 level, where you could have a substantial bounce. But if we could get a golden bearish cross in the weekly, that could be enough to force it down to a capitulation low. And I think it would take something like that to happen. So we'll continue to watch out for that in the Ethereum. And if we take a look at the XRP price and the Bitcoin price, because it's going to be a very interesting weekend. We've had some uh, coins, especially the altcoins, get hit 60, 70, 80%, and now they're starting to rally. Could you have like you've seen in XCN, we've had about a 80 to 100% rally from its low in the last couple of days. Could that continue this weekend? It's going to be a very volatile weekend here with the coins. If we look at the daily with the XRP, with the price coming up today, we're ever so close to that bearish cross of the 50 getting underneath the 100-day moving average. But with the price action trying to get bullish across some of these coins in the short term. And this weekend, on a thinly traded weekend, could be a weekend where you could continue to see a pump. We have XRP that's come up off of its low of $1.61, get rejected by the neckline, and now it's consolidating at the 200-day moving average in the daily time frame, trying to break up above the neckline and peak above it. And if it does do that, we could peak above it and maybe come up to a falling 50-day moving average and the overhead 200 sitting up there at about $2.24, falling by the day right now. And then you would have to try to hold that to try to reverse a shorter term pattern. Right now, we're trying not to get rejected and turning that neckline at the $2.09 from support and the resistance, because if it does get rejected over the weekend, you'd be coming back down for a regional local double bottom, and then you would have to look to try to build back up from there. Or obviously could decide to continue down towards our eventual targeted move of $1.29 from this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern that you see right there. But this weekend we're coiling up. We could try to have a little bit of a push to the upside and maybe retest this neckline at 212 and coming up maybe as high as the falling overhead 50 and the 100 that are attempting a bearish cross up there at $2.18. So we're going to watch out for that this week. On the same thing with the XLM, you bounced off near that 18-cent target that we had, where we thought we could have a bounce back like we have drawn there in purple, potentially back up to as high as the 28 cents. So this weekend, what we could be looking at is you might continue to try to trade up and retest this 25 cents, and that would be a major resistance area to the upside this weekend if you do try to and can in fact get up there and get the buyers. And the momentum on a thinly traded weekend market, or you're going to come back down eventually over the next few days if you can't do that or you get rejected to this 18 cents. But this weekend, I got a weekend bull watch in effect that we could see some coins pump this weekend as we got the Bitcoin price bouncing off that critical 73,899. It had formed a bottom, local double bottom on there, as you can see in the green box. And the resistance zone this week, I would be up there in the red box between that 200-day moving average in the daily and that 100-day moving average in the daily at 87,000, near that 90,000 would be your upside potential. So we do have a bullish pump advisory for the weekend and watch to see if we can't parlay the end of the week turnaround from these deep lows to the upside here this weekend. We're going to pay close attention to it, and we'll get more into it tonight. Peace and love. Direct Eyebrow J.